Hey everyone, Meteorologist Emery here. Apologies for the delay. This is our First Alert weather channel, or rather weather streaming show. We have Mondays through Fridays at 7:15, although tonight it is 7:18, and that is partially my fault. I'll take part of the blame for that. Chief Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer and I are having a pretty good conversation, talking about weather, talking about well, just life in general, and got carried away with the time frame. So my apologies, but we'll go ahead and get things started here on this finally Friday. Hopefully you all are having a fantastic Friday as we enter the weekend on a nice, dry, pleasant note. And again, Meteorologist Ethan Emery here, filling in for Chief Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. We have the schedule now where I will be working for him on Fridays all the way through the beginning of November, because Steve works an awful lot. When we do the Cincinnati Reds forecasts, Steve works from home. Even on vacation, Steve is working. Steve is a workaholic. And we convinced him a little bit, hey, spend some time with your life. Enjoy yourself a little bit. So Steve is, on Fridays, going to be enjoying his life a little bit with his wife and his dogs for 7:15 show, the 10 o'clock, and the 11 o'clock newscast. So I'll be filling in for the next several Fridays here on the 7:15 show on Fridays, and then, of course, the 10 and 11 o'clock newscast. Of course, tonight we have the 11 o'clock show taken over by sports. The final quarter, Joe, Jeremy, Reagan, Gabby, all of them will be covering that. And, of course, we got a lot going on high school-wise with a lot of the football games. Football season for high schools kicking off. I'm, of course, wearing my Hillsboro red, supporting my alma mater high school, as the Hillsboro football team takes off against the Western Brown football team. So it should be a lot of fun down there in Mount Orab. Kickoff is, I think, fairly soon for that game. But anyway, we've got to move along here with the forecast. Folks are probably wanting to know, hey, what's going on with this weekend? I've updated the 7-day forecast. I've updated the 14-day forecast. And there are some changes coming in, good and not so good. So we'll talk about all that here in a moment. Live look behind me here of our tower camera. And this is in Fairmount, looking towards downtown Cincinnati. And right now we are looking at temperatures in the mid-80s, so 85 degrees this hour. We made it to a high of 87, so a pretty warm day here in the tri-state. In fact, what I'm going to do real quick is take a look at the almanac. This is from CVG officially. And whenever this wants to load, we'll show you the morning low. I don't recall what the morning low was. I want to say it was in the it was in the upper 50s at CVG. So a little bit warmer at CVG, 58 this morning, 87 this afternoon. So really nice dry day. And we do have some more dry days to come in that 7-day forecast, which we'll dive into here in just a moment. So if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to join us on the Fox 19 Facebook page at Fox 19. You can also go to my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. I'll be checking both periodically throughout this broadcast, and be happy to answer any of those questions you got. If anywhere else you're watching us, unfortunately I can't see your comments. So eventually we'll be looking at chats on YouTube. So we talked about this yesterday. We need the rain. Of course we need the rain. And we do have extreme drought conditions over towards Highland County, where I'm from. And we even have severe drought conditions extending into portions of northern Adams County, even a little bit into Clinton County. Those are the areas that are dealing with the most intense impacts from the drought conditions. But a lot of places need the rain. In fact, even over here in southeast Indiana, not categorized in the drought monitor, I will say the forecast for the next couple of weeks could allow for these locations here to also be included in abnormally dry to even moderate drought conditions. Now, that gets updated weekly, so we'll have to check back on Thursday to see what the data has. But I will say the forecast does not bode well to relieve us of the drought conditions. And we'll look at that graphic I showed yesterday when it comes to the rainfall we need, what we can expect over the next 4 weeks. All that coming up here in just a little bit. Take a look at radar real quick. I want to show you, I mentioned this yesterday, but I want to show to you again of what we're dealing with, what we're going to be looking at that's going to impact our forecast here this week and into early next week. So, again, once out just a little bit. Tell you what, my computer is running really slow, but it looks good behind me, so that's all that matters, right? So you can see kind of the spin right here. So right here is an area of high pressure. Let me go ahead and draw that out real quick. So here is the high pressure. Let me go ahead and put that full screen for you. That way you can see that yourself. So that is the high pressure. Not a strong one, but it is bringing in a lot of heat for those locations. And we also have high pressure for us right up in here. This one's a little bit cooler. So this one's bringing in the cooler air with it. So it's spinning around like this. And this one over into the deep south is spinning around like that. So we are beginning to transition over into a warmer air mass here into the Ohio Valley. So we are looking at those temperatures going to be on the increase as we head into this weekend, into early next week. In fact, just downright hot conditions here into the tri-state next week. But this is kind of the pattern setup we're looking at here over the next couple of days, as that high pressure system is going to kind of kick that one out. And this one's going to move off that way. So that's what we've got here in the forecast for the next couple of days. Hopefully that was easy to understand. So let's take a look at the forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Sorry, my allergies starting to bug me a little bit all of a sudden, so we'll have to battle through with this. And I might have to mute my microphone to take a sneeze if I have to. So tonight we got an overnight low down to 60 degrees, so a little bit warmer compared to the last several nights. But I will say a lot of locations will be in the mid to upper 50s. But here in Cincinnati, I think we'll be right at that 60-degree mark. And then tomorrow, you know what? I did it. I put us in the 90-degree mark. So tomorrow is the start of what's going to be several days of 90 degrees or warmer conditions here into the tri-state. And if you are traveling this weekend, I feel a sneeze coming on, so we'll put this full screen for you just in case. For tomorrow, if you're traveling across the region, we are looking at areas looking pretty hot, especially down to just the south of here. Columbus got a high of 90 degrees there. Over towards Indianapolis, 89 degrees. Lexington, 90. 93 down into Nashville. 92 in St. Louis. Pardon me, I had to take a break there to sneeze. But we are looking at dry conditions throughout the Ohio Valley. So some good news there on that front. Not so good news is that we're going to begin to feel the air a little bit. We're beginning to feel that humidity on the rise. So you'll see that muggy meter here momentarily. So here it is. You can see that we go into the weekend. Saturday still fairly comfortable. A little bit warmer, obviously. But we go into Saturday night into Sunday, the humidity begins to spike up. And now we're in that category of humid air, dew points in the low to mid 60s. This will be with us until Monday. Monday afternoon and Monday evening, the dew points kick it up a notch. Mid to upper 60s and low 70s. What does that mean? Well, looking at muggy conditions. And then we head into Tuesday into Wednesday, and things are going to be at the category of what we call air you can wear. That's attributed to meteorologist Jeff Creighton, who used to say that often. Good friend of ours here at Fox 19. And then very close to miserably muggy. And that's going to be part of that air mass we're dealing with. And that's where we're looking at the potential for heat index values to be in the triple digits. So I want to show you this forecast model, because I will say that next week we do have opportunities for showers and storms. We've talked about this for several days now to monitor Tuesday and Wednesday. And we're going to show you what we mean here in just a moment. So here is through Sunday, quiet. Monday, looking quiet. We're looking hot. And then Tuesday, we do have the pop-up chances for some showers and a few storms, particularly in the afternoon and evening. This model, it kind of has it all over the place. But we are looking at, again, that potential to see some pop-up showers and storms. But much of your Tuesday is dry, hot, and humid. We go into Wednesday. Take a look what's happening over in Cleveland. Again, pardon me, allergies are starting to bug me a little bit, but this is Wednesday morning. right here. This has been kind of consistent on this model. And what this appears to be is what we call an MCS, or a multi-convective system. It's a cluster of storms. They kind of behave on their own, and they usually are very fast-moving. They can become derechas. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is the case for that, but they are kind of that type of storm system. So they usually are a culprit of bringing in straight-line damaging winds and very heavy rain and thunder and lightning. Sometimes they can develop what we call little quick spin-up tornadoes. That is something you can't really forecast for up until a little bit closer. This far out, it's really tricky to forecast stuff like that. Is there a chance for that? Sure. Is it a high chance? Right now, we're going to pump the brakes and say no. But could we see strong winds and heavy rain Wednesday? Yeah, this is a possibility. So these systems, I've referred to them before as kind of, this might be kind of silly, but they're kind of like a hungry hippo. They're going to go after whatever they can go after the most, whatever's going to have the most storm energy, the most heat, the easiest path. That's what these systems tend to do. And I'm not trying to characterize this or humanize something like this, but this is going to actually head in our direction. Why? There's mountains right here. Going up a mountain is pretty hard for a system to do. Low pressure, high pressure, front, MCS, whatever it is. It tries to avoid that if it can. Now, granted, big enough system is going to overcome it, and it has to eventually. But a system that's a little bit smaller like this is going to typically avoid the mountains. Not always the case, but generally speaking, it's going to go where the most moisture or the heat or the storm energy can feed it. So this, you'll watch in the forecast model, is going to dive to the southwest. Very unusual pattern for a typical storm system, but MCSs kind of go wherever they want. There have been MCSs that move west to east, which is kind of typical. Sometimes they'll move northwest to southeast, also not unusual. But sometimes they'll go northeast to southwest, or sometimes east to west. And it's just kind of dependent on, again, what are the atmospheric conditions. And that's why they're so tricky to really forecast for. But I will say forecast models are suggesting with better confidence that we could be looking at this development Tuesday and Wednesday somewhere in the region. And models are actually beginning to suggest Wednesday has a better opportunity compared to Tuesday, though Tuesday we can't quite rule it out. I will say right now, Tuesday looks more like pop-up chances. So here's Wednesday. Notice what's happening here. It's showing that very classic setup, that bowing structure with it. That's very classic MCS development. And notice how it's in part of the mountains, but it's not going over the mountains. Physics doesn't make it easy for a system like this. So it's going to kind of ride along the foothills of Appalachia. And so it's going to impact southeast Ohio, eventually here in the tri-state, where in the Ohio Valley, we could be looking at this storm system moving in too. So if you're curious, if you're asking, what does that mean for me? Well, I wouldn't cancel your plans if you got outdoor plans just yet, Tuesday or Wednesday. But I would look at maybe having an option for an indoor. Looking at maybe packing your umbrella that day, being prepared for some showers and storms. The timing right now, this says 10 a.m. Wednesday. I wouldn't totally buy into that yet. If you're a betting person, I wouldn't bet on it being in the morning just yet. We gotta wait for data to come in because these things, like I said, are very tricky. The timing can change very abruptly because of the speed, where the high pressure is. A lot of factors that go into that. But Tuesday, Wednesday, both days have these chances for showers and storms. Could lead to some heavy rain and some strong gusty winds. Both of those, I think, are the primary factors in any storm that develops Tuesday or Wednesday and Thursday. You'll see here Thursday, looking dry for the bulk of the day. But Thursday afternoon, we could be looking at pop-up showers and storms. And this model is a little bit drier now, but in the vicinity, you notice there was some green, some yellow, and granted, it's not in our viewing area, but it's in the region enough to where, hey, we could see some development even here at home. Is the chance great? Not as great as Tuesday or Wednesday, but it is there nonetheless. And then Friday, we are looking at a cold front moving in during the particularly afternoon and evening hours. So Friday afternoon is when I think we're looking at better opportunities for showers and storms. That will continue Friday night and linger into the day on Saturday. Now, I will say this model a lot drier on Saturday. I'm keeping storm chances next Saturday. So the very last day of August, we could be looking at additional showers and storms. So when it comes to the drought conditions, are we going to see some much needed rain? Yes, but it's not going to be enough to overcome the drought conditions. And I'll show you that graph here in just a little bit. But let's show you the 7-day forecast, and it will go beyond the 7-day forecast. That way you know what to do and what to expect for Labor Day weekend. That's coming up next weekend. Hard to believe that. Time just flies by when you are having fun, right? So here is the 7-day. Click this full screen for you. High of 90 for your Saturday, 91 Sunday, partly cloudy and hot. Same goes for your Monday, 93 though, a bit warmer. And then we go into Tuesday, 94. Tuesday looks to be the hottest day of the 7-day forecast. Heat index values could get close to the triple digits, if not just over the triple digits. And then Wednesday, better chances for showers and storms. Again, part of that system that moves through. The timing is a little bit too uncertain right now, to be determined as we get closer. Thursday, a slight chance, kind of like Tuesday, not an all-out washout. High 91. And then Friday, that's when the frontal system is moving in. Friday, particularly afternoon and evening right now, but that could also change depending on the timing of that front. But still looking at storm chances, still looking pretty warm with highs in the upper 80s. So that is the 7-day forecast. We'll look at beyond the 7-day forecast in a moment. But first, let's take a look at those Facebook comments, see if we have any questions or comments there. Cheyenne says, hello, Ethan. Hello to you, Cheyenne. Sarah says, hello. Hope you're having a good night. So far, I am. Again, the allergy is the only issue I'm dealing with right now. Jeff said, hope not of the bad storms. Well, we'll see as we get closer. The atmosphere may not be favorable for it. But right now, based on the pattern setup, we could be looking at the potential for strong storms Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. Though the chances of it aren't high, but they're there. That's why I'm giving you the heads up at least. Susan, I really dread this weather coming. It's going to be horrible on the farm animals because they are already starting to grow winter hair. Yeah, you got to feel for folks in agriculture. You got to feel for the animals that are dealing with these impacts of the dry weather. And for the fact that it's been really cool this week, doesn't help either when you have a shock like this when you get highs in the 90s. But that's second summer, or kind of a resemblance of second summer. But yeah, it's not easy. And not to mention, people think it's already fall. We still got some time before fall. Now granted, holiday drinks, that's one thing. But the leaves, they're falling, not because of foliage, but it's because of how dry it's been. So a lot harder for, all the moisture, the lack thereof, going up in the tree, the sap going up to the tree, keeping the chlorophyll up with the leaves, so they tend to wilt and fall off. Some trees. Some trees are a lot more sensitive than others, so you probably are noticing some leaves falling, but it's because of just how dry it is, partially the case. Speaking of which, I will be looking at the foliage map. I'm going to try to get that updated for the 10 o'clock newscast tonight, when we could expect to see the beginning stages of foliage here in the tri-state, all those colors. Now, again, considering how dry it's been, it may not be great compared to, say, last year, but we do have, of course, every year the chance to see some nice colors here in the tri-state. But it's still August. Let's pump the brakes for a moment. Victoria, love me some Fox News. They are local and always now. Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate the kind words. Got a spam. We're going to ignore that. Sam says, I got 2 of my lawns Tuesday and Thursday this week because I know it's going to be really hot the next few days before it gets cool. Labor Day weekend. Yes, you're spoiling the fun. We've got cooler weather moving in Labor Day weekend. I'll show you that in the 14-day in a moment. But glad you got some of the lawns taken care of. I know my dad, he over in Highland County has not been able to mow for the last few weeks, although he did mow on, I believe it was Sunday, because of all the rain we had over the last weekend, where there was some areas of green that did quickly thicken things up. But, yeah, been really hard for folks to mow with the how dry it's been. Katrina asks, what are models showing for the first half of September? Warmer or more fall-like? Give me a moment. Let me catch up with the comments, and I'll answer that question. Liz says we need rain in the Highland County. Couldn't agree more. Extreme drought conditions for those folks in Highland County. It just goes without saying. Y'all really need it. My Facebook page real quick. Got to double check them. Make sure that they got their questions and comments recognized, and then we will jump right along. All right, Carolyn asking, got a wedding coming up September 1st in Lynchburg. Pray for good weather. Thanks, Ethan. You're welcome, Carolyn. All right, we've got enough questions about Labor Day weekend. So here it is. So Saturday of Labor Day weekend, I got storm chances. High of 85. That's the beginning of things getting a bit milder. Sunday, September 1st. So to answer your question, for Lynchburg, for your wedding of yours, looking good. Sunshine. High of 83 right now for September 1st. Labor Day, oh man, I got covered up. So this is September 2nd, that's Labor Day. 82 for your high for Labor Day. And then we are looking at the chances for showers and storms returning for the middle and latter half of the first week of September. So as a Highland County, somebody who grew up there, I know that's the first week of course, that's the first week of September, but it's also Highland County Fair Week, so there's always rain at some point in Highland County Fair. You're going to get it. It's much needed. I'm sure some of you are okay with that. Wednesday, Thursday, going into Friday, September 6th. And notice the temperatures. The trend is going down. And I'll show you that here on this graphic, which really illustrates kind of the temperature trends with what is normal for this time of the year. So right now our normal high is 85, normal low is 64. We were pretty close to that today. We had a high of, or morning low of 58. We had an afternoon high of 87, but that's close enough to normal, right? Going to be, of course, above normal for most of this week coming up. Several days of highs in the 90s, so we're going to call it a heat wave. Saturday through Thursday. Friday, maybe, but Friday's still looking pretty warm, 89 for that day. And then next week, the beginning days of September, temperatures will begin to get closer to normal with highs in the low to mid 80s and lows in the mid to upper 50s and low 60s. Now, this only goes to September 6th. People are asking for the first half of September. And I've got some decent news, good and bad. Let's just say that, good and bad. The good news is that for those of you who don't like the heat, waiting for the timing of this. There we go. Temperatures look to be below normal and or beginning more favorable to be near to below normal. So temperatures look to be, generally speaking, in the upper 70s to low 80s, generally through the middle of September. When it comes to moisture, near normal. Not enough to overcome the drought conditions, but it at least keeps it from being a runaway drought in this scenario. And looking ahead to the next 3 to 4 weeks, so going through much of September, this updated, if you recall, I showed this yesterday. It had some of that orange over us. Now it's backing off because the trend is things look to be finally near normal in terms of temperature. When it comes to moisture, not bad. We would prefer to see some green, but you know, you get what you get. So, yeah, so Labor Day weekend, we are going on a cooler trend for that, and we're looking at storm chances that Saturday, but Sunday and Labor Day Monday do appear to be dry. And then that week following, we are looking at temperatures near to just below normal, so low to mid 80s for highs, lows in the mid to upper 50s and low 60s. So that's behind me here. Let's go ahead and catch up on the comments. Molly says, hello, Ethan, can't wait for the rain and the fall colors. Me neither. Fall is my favorite season, of course. Football, colors, fall flavors. I'm a sucker for pumpkin spice lattes. I'm a sucker for cider. I love apple cider. In fact, I would argue that apple cider is better than pumpkin spice. My opinion, take it or leave it, but I love cider. I love making wassail, especially in the late fall and winter. Good stuff. Or spiced cider is what people typically call it, but my family, we call it wassail. So what was I saying? Football, colors, fall treats and flavors, my birthday, Halloween, all fun stuff. So I'm with you completely. Cheyenne says, where I live, I barely get rain, but get a lot of thunder and lightning. That's kind of, it's still summertime in the tri-state. You typically get thunderstorms and any rain chance here in this region. So, yeah, hate to see that for you, Cheyenne. Some people love to watch thunderstorms. Others, of course, get terrified. It's one of those subjects that can be rather tricky because some people have a lot of anxiety with storms, and some people get thrilled and excited for storms. And as a kid, I loved storms. Getting a little bit older, dealing with some, catastrophic storms in my past, I understand both. There's times where I get a little anxious with storms. There's times where I get excited. And it's just something you got to work through, finding ways to cope and, overcome that stress and anxiety. Cheyenne says, I love rain, but not the thunderstorms. So, yeah, I hear you. Hopefully when it gets cooler, the storm chances dwindle and you get those cool, rainy days. Make you a little bit happier, right? All right, let's go to my Facebook page real quick. Getting a lot of comments coming in, at least on my post about my tie. Brenda says, awesome weather, Ethan. Yes, it is not too bad. I think this is awesome. The forecast this upcoming week, not my favorite, but it's not unusual. 90s in August are not unusual. In fact, last year, I believe the last day at or above 90 degrees was in late August. So this kind of tracks for what you typically see here in the tri-state. Though there have been times where we have 90s in the September and even October, though let's hope that's not the case. And the forecast is not favorable for that, mind you. So again, here is that 7-day forecast. Tomorrow is our first day at 90 degrees, I believe, in Cincinnati. A lot of places will be in the mid to upper 80s. A lot of sunshine. Sunday, we're going to call partly cloudy, hot, 91. And notice the low temperature. So this morning, or tonight into tomorrow morning, if you want to have your windows open, I say, hey, go for it. We'll save you a little bit of AC, save you a little bit of electric. But after tomorrow morning, looking at Sunday, temperatures getting a little bit milder, a little bit more humid. Now, you can still have your windows open, sure, but it won't be as cool, as chilly as it has been. And then we go into next week. Morning lows are going to be humid, going to be sticky when you walk outside in the mornings for the bus stop, for work, whatever it is you're going to in the mornings. And in the afternoons, just downright hot. And I will say Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are 3 days where we could be looking at heat index values near to just over 100 degrees. So let's show you that future heat index map. So let's go ahead and play this all the way out to Monday. So Monday, this is one forecast model, does a pretty good job with these things most of the time. Monday could have heat index values in the low to mid 90s. We go into Tuesday. A lot of pink behind me indicating heat index values at or just over 100 degrees. These are feels like temperatures, mind you. So the actual temperature will be in the mid 90s, but the feels like when you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel like the low 100s. That's Tuesday. Wednesday, very close to that 100 degree threshold. And I will say these numbers are going to be highly dependent on rain. So, for example, like the model was showing you earlier, with the rain chances and storms on Wednesday, if it happens in the morning, it could limit highs on Wednesday. So this there's a bit of uncertainty for Wednesday with regards to heat index values. So it'll be pretty warm, it'll be very muggy, but if it rains, that rain-cooled air could limit highs, which would be not bad if you want to avoid heat index values in the triple digits, but something that is something to keep in mind. And then Thursday, we could also see heat index values near to just over 100 degrees. No additional comments on the Fox 19 Facebook page. Let's look at my Facebook page one more time. No additional comments there. Okay, so I want to show, this is what I showed yesterday. This is from a forecast model. Does a decent job. And what it's doing, and this I will say is a little bit updated compared to what this is, and I'll explain that. This is one forecast model, and it takes a trend, it takes an average of all the different models, we'll call it an ensemble, and it kind of gives us an estimate of how much rain we could see over the next 4 weeks. This says 1.5 inches of rain. This has been updated. It actually is closer to 2 inches, which is not bad. It's better, but it's not going to be enough for what we actually need. Why? Well, because with how dry things have been, in order to overcome the drought conditions, we need nearly 5 inches of rain. So in order to maintain what we currently have with the drought, we need this much rain. So if you want to overcome the drought conditions, you need more than this yellow line, which is a lot of rain. And unfortunately, it usually comes in a short period of time, which is not really good for the soil because it usually runs off really quick and it's not enough to absorb that moisture. Our normal rainfall amounts for the next 4 weeks is about 3 inches. But again, the forecast does have less than that. So less than normal over the next 4 weeks. Now, of course, we hope for the folks who need the rain, but this changes. But this is pretty close to what is showing in the forecast model data for the next 4 weeks. But as I showed you, the next 14 days, we do have rain opportunities, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the following middle of the week. So we'll show you that 7-day and 14-day one more time, and then we'll go ahead and wrap things up as I got to get ready for the 10 o'clock newscast tonight and make some updated graphics. That way this weekend, myself and meteorologist Ashley Smith will be fully loaded, ready to go and give you all the fun graphics we like to show here on Fox 19. Sam saying drink lots of water. Couldn't agree more, especially next week. So here's that 7-day forecast. This is going into the final days of August, because Friday is August 30th. Next Saturday is the final day of August, August 31st, of course. But as you can see here, what was I thinking of? Words escape me. A streak of hot days, so let's just put it that way. So 90 for your Saturday, Sunday 91, 93 for your Monday, Tuesday at 94. Tuesday is the hottest day, I think, of the foreseeable future. And then we go into Wednesday, 92, 91 on your Thursday, and then 89 for your Friday. Heat wave is the term I was looking for. Sheesh. You'd think it's my Friday. It's only my Wednesday, believe it or not. But yeah, looking dry, looking hot, getting humid going into Monday. Really feeling the humidity on Tuesday and keeping that humidity up through Friday. And with that humidity also leads us to chances for showers and storms, especially looking like Wednesday and Friday right now. And then looking beyond the 7-day forecast, we've got those highs eventually cooling down into the low to mid 80s for highs, morning lows in the mid to upper 50s. Looking pretty good, right? So I believe I've covered everything. We got a lot of events this weekend too, don't forget. We've also got the Germania Oktoberfest. That's happening tonight. I'm jealous for all my friends who are heading out there. I went out there a couple of years ago. Great food, great company. It's a fun time. And there's also the river bend. They got Foreigner and Styx out there tonight. Saw a lot of traffic on the bridge just before the Kellogg Avenue exit. So it's going to be a pretty packed event this evening. And then, trying to think, this is the wrap-up of Cincy Wing Week. And next Tuesday, we've got the Reds back in town. So a lot of different events happening. I'm sure there's a lot of events that I haven't even talked about, but still, fun-filled weekend. Forecast looking pretty good for the most part in that regard. So it's been about 35 minutes. I got to get some stuff ready for the 10 o'clock newscast. So that being said, thank you all so much for joining us here on this First Alert weather streaming show for 7:15. Again, I'm going to be the one filling in for Steve on this show, 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock newscasts on Fridays through the beginning of November. There's a couple of Fridays I do have off, giving myself some time off those days. That's not until September and October, but you'll see me here for your Friday evenings. Hopefully you like that, and if not, you got Steve, 7:15, Monday through Thursday at least. So just hope for you. That being said, thank you all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Friday evening.